Wicked Witches. It's the Capricorn full moon, which is my full moon because I'm Capricorn. And I feel like we have the Capricorn dark moon at the winter solstice, and then you have the Cancerian season, the Capricorn full moon moment at the summer solstice. And they're strong, ruled by Saturn. Saturn represents time. They're like time milestones throughout the year. So you're in Capricorn season for the winter solstice, and it's a time to celebrate and connect with community because you're looking after each other to get each other through the winter months. You know, maybe your harvest didn't go so well, maybe your neighbours went better. How do you look after each other and keep each other alive over the hardest time of the year? And so you come together and you have feasts, and you have basically what Christmas is, and then you look after each other and you get each other fat and you keep each other warm, and that's the celebration of the winter solstice. And then the summer solstice is the celebration of nature and her abundance, and just this like moment where we're all out, we're all alive, we're all safe, we're here, and we're celebrating nature and everything she has to offer. But it's a time for us to check in with what our intentions were that we set for like New Year's Eve resolutions. And I think whatever you start the year with some kind of like, what I want this year, what I want to create, what I'm planning to do this year. And now it's the full moon moment of like, okay, so what intention did you set in the dark moon and the dark moon vibe? And now it's like full moon, full summer. This is the moment where you're like, and what have I brought to fruition? And so it's a check-in with what you've intended and how you've got with that. This is a big one, this full moon. You've probably noticed it, I've been feeling it. We are now also the first day of Mercury retrograde, and Mercury is retrograding in Cancer. So probably things to do with your past and your family, just people from the past are going to start coming up. And I just held the full moon ceremony online, and someone came who I haven't seen for 5 years, and they came out of the blue. They're not somebody who normally comes to the ceremonies, and they did it without saying anything. They just suddenly turned up. So that was like literally immediate. And it felt very relevant to, I'm doing the Which Fool Are You course at the moment, and the things that are coming through from that. Everything's so linked to the pilgrimages and my pilgrimage story, and being here and being in this valley. And we did a ceremony where we connected with a rock, and we just communicated with, because all rocks are alive and living things, and they won't just communicate with you like willy-nilly. You need to really spend time and take some time. But we just sat with our rocks and just felt what came through. And we also drew labyrinths. I taught them how to draw a labyrinth, and we spent some time drawing the labyrinth and then moving our finger around the labyrinth and seeing what came through from that. And labyrinths are often carved into rocks and have been there for thousands of years. They're Neolithic, and this is from a Neolithic dolomite mine next to my house. So feeling the connection of all these things, plus so much was coming through from the pilgrimage. The first time I walked the labyrinth, it was with Jonathan Kay on one of my pilgrimages, and he's my fooling teacher. And so it was like my fool was in the labyrinth with me, and we kept being near each other, and we kept being really far from each other. And it was this whole dance, and it felt like the dance of life. Of sometimes I'm near to my fool, and sometimes I'm far away from my fool. And the fool to me is my inner world, my creative, imaginative inner spark, which is my origin, which is the origin of and that's the archetype that's coming through for me on the Which Fool Are You course. It's like my origin story, basically. Like, that was one of the first pictures I ever drew, was of a strawberry house, and my mum had cravings for strawberries when she was pregnant with me, and that's my temple. And then that's my origin story, which is an egg poppy. And that's the first tattoo I ever got, was this star on my back, and then that became the symbol of Kriya arts. And Kriya means karma is the repetition of patterns, and Kriya is the fuck this moment where you burst the balloon with a pin, like getting pregnant with a sperm and an egg, and it just changes everything, and it's changed forever, and it's a transformational moment. And then that's my priest. What would my priest or priestesses look like? It's Eric the snail, which again I've been drawing all my life. And then a commandment, I command you to admit you love pink. No. And then you serve me in your nonsense. And this is a fanzine for the archetype that I'm working with, which feels like my origin. It's like the origin story. So yeah, all of these things felt like they've all linked up and are connected to what's happening, like what's happening with this Cancerian, your origin, your ancestors, your roots, the home, your family. And then also Jupiter has just changed signs, which it's a 12-year cycle for it to reach the place where it's in now. So it's just gone into Leo. And so it's been 12 years since it was in Leo. So to reflect on what was happening in 2014. And in 2014, I was planning my brother's wedding. So that, again, family. And it's made me feel like I need to connect with my brother and ring him and just, you know, connect him with him and his wife, my sister-in-law. And also I was taking a theatre show on tour with a woman called Jess Tom, who is known as Tourette's hero. And she's got Tourette's and was never really able to go to the theatre because of her Tourette's. And so we created a show called Backstage in Biscuitland, which we took to Edinburgh. And it did really well and was part of the British Council showcase after that. And then we ended up going all over the world through the British Council. And it was kind of like the zenith in terms of the full moon and summer solstice of my career in theatre. And very connected to the Fool, because it felt like with her Tourette's, her Fool was just coming through. She had no control over it. Whereas with people who are not people with Tourette's, we have like a gatekeeper that's stopping our Fool from escaping all the time and saying silly things, like fucking hilarious things. Like, they were amazing. The stuff she came out with was incredible and the most amazing comedy ever. She did she was on Russell Howard's show, and he was like, God, I spent hours trying to come up with jokes and they're just literally falling out of you. And she went, yeah, but they're not me, they're my Tourette's. I'm not funny, my Tourette's is hilarious. But it was amazing working with her and being on tour with her and feeling like I was hearing the voice of the Fool coming through from when she would, you know, the Fool would tick. And yeah, so it's just interesting, those things are coming through. And then to look at in your chart where Leo is in your chart, because that's where this Jupiter, like mad, crazy, anything can happen situations are going to now be happening in Leo. And for me, Leo is my 9th house, which is the house of teaching, publishing, philosophy, religion. And Leo is about the spotlight and being like, woohoo, here's me coming out onto the stage, which is also the energy of this year, because it's a 10-year, and 10-year is the year of the shit turning into gold. And so where and how are you going to be like stepping into your spotlight and being big and bright? I mean, I would love it if I got a publisher. If I got a publisher now, that would be a Jupiter moment to publish my book about my pilgrimage that I walked 5 years ago, that the woman who turned up on my, I mean, it feels like that would be amazing. That would all click into place if that happened. But also, like this year, us suddenly getting this house and living in this valley, that all came out of nowhere, and that felt very in tune with it being a 10-year and the shit turning into gold. And my intention for this year was the mythos of gold. So I was literally exploring like money and gold and what that all meant, and then burnt money last year, like in ceremony. So burnt some money just as an offering. And then the next thing I know, I'm here and I'm living in this house that's now ours. It's our house. We own it. And that, never in a million years did I think that was going to happen. It's just through a weird series of events that it's ended up happening. We don't even have a fucking mortgage. So like, even though I'm still a barmaid on like less than minimum wage and fucking poor in so many ways, I'm not as well anymore. I'm in a completely different situation and it's fucking nuts. And came out of nowhere. So you just never know what's going to happen. You never know what the universe is going to throw at you. And then also to be in a position where we can support people or host people or put things on and do things and do anything and decorate it so it looks like this. And just, yeah, it's a completely mad new situation. So let's see what the cards and runes, or what the universe wants to say to us about all this. So... covered in so much funny stuff in front of me. I love it. I love having a studio that's just a witchy magic studio. Okay, necessity. Now this rune I really like because it's about doing what's necessary. And that's interesting because it often comes up when you feel a bit busy. And for me, it's that, like, think about what's actually necessary and focus on that. And I have been feeling a bit scattered. I think coming out of Gemini season, one does feel very scattered, and I've got a cold. I'm feeling a bit run down. So it is a good reminder to strip things back and just do what's necessary at the moment. And that's useful. Sunshine in the physical world. So, yep, we've got the summer solstice. We're in full, bright, glowing yumminess. And it feels like we're in a place of abundance. And it has. It's been, I just put on a corporate event this weekend. It was really hard work, but it went really well. And we're going to have made some money from it. And yeah, that felt really good. And there's a really good group of people here. And we're having a lovely time. And we're in this house. And yeah, just things feel very sunny and abundant right now. So that makes total sense. But then ice in our communication. So this is about surrendering. And that is what I'm doing and what I'm trying to support people to do in the Witch Fool You course, is to look at what the sign language is in your outer world. Like, what's it telling you about what you need to learn and what you need to know? So that for me is things like the necessity rune coming out, like going, okay, what is necessary? I mean, something that's coming through for me is I need to like get physically healthy again, like really healthy, and that I want to work on that. So that's something that I'm feeling. And yeah, okay, and just to surrender to the process, trust it. Have courage. This is in my passion. And that again also feels like, how do you be steadfast like a horse? Because that represents the horse. So how in your drive and your passion can you like push forward and be brave? Yeah, let's see what else comes through to see what the reading for all of this is, because they're not readings I pull that often. And a spiritual gift. So this is from the inner world. And this is about our relationship and interface with our twin, which is literally the work that I'm doing with the Witch Fool You. So, yeah, so it's doing what's, okay, so what that is saying to me is do what is necessary, which is doing the inner work. The inner work is necessary, and to surrender to it. And you're not going to completely understand it. I mean, what's come through for me in terms of the archetype that I'm exploring is not a named archetype, but I'm trusting that it shouldn't be named, because actually not everything should be named necessarily. So I know what it is, I can feel it, but it's unnameable. So I've just put origin stage on here, which is the Boomtown, which is also interesting because, yeah, it's necessary for me to get in touch with Boomtown and start talking to them about what our plans are, because it's really soon. So that's something that's necessary. And wanting to be big and brave with who and what we are. And it does feel like it's time to level up. And that's what the Capricorn full moon is all about, is leveling up, like really stepping into something bigger. And also something that just came through from the ceremony was that, it's beautiful actually, I'll read it to you. This is from Corinthians, from the Bible. Is that we are the living temple of the Spirit. So look at each other and ourselves as the temple of God and treat ourselves accordingly, treat them accordingly. So the way that, like in enemies or war or anything like that, those are still temples of God, just as you are. And so you treat yourself and everyone that you meet as a temple of God. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And yeah, the idea of pressure. So Saturn is restriction, which rules Capricorn, and it's about pressure. And that pressure is what makes creativity really come to life. So I have the pressure here of living on Sark and there not being anyone here, and it being this tiny island with no one here. So therefore I've been making the podcast, and therefore I'm doing this work online. I'm using the pressure of my restrictions to create differently to how I was in Brighton, and it's working. It's coming together and working and building, and I want to make it better and I want to get more honed, but it's also making sure I'm doing what's necessary and not spreading myself too thin. So And I've got a cold from spreading myself too thin, so that feels relevant. So I've got the Queen of Wands. It's about cutting through the bullshit. Look, she's holding the head there of just some old man, and she's like powerfully, she's done it. She's cut through the bullshit. That feels good. I have been doing work on my body. I've been holding things since the last pilgrimage that have been oppressive and giving me back and pain, shoulders in my pain. And I went and got some Reiki massage, and we cracked it off. We cracked it off my shoulder and got rid of it, and it worked. And it's been great. And I can move my head again. And like, yeah, that's been amazing. And that felt like it was someone I needed to like kind of crack off and shed. Like it felt like an oppressive force that I needed to shed myself of. So where are you cutting things up? Like Saturn is also patriarchy. So what needs chopping off and removing so that you're only working with what's necessary? What needs cutting away? And then we've got sorrow, because it's the things that are making you sad. I mean, I know what's making me sad is feeling fat and old and just feeling the change of going through the menopause, and that making me feel unattractive. And yeah, so why I'm beating myself up about that. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to get some discipline and sort myself out, or what am I going to do? So that feels like something that is very much there for me at the moment, is trying to navigate enjoying myself, having a nice time in the new house, but also not just getting really fat and being sluggish, getting fit, being fit, using my body in ways that I like to use it. I really miss dancing. I really want to dance. My dance teacher, Zumba teacher, has been contacting me lately. I'm going to train to be a Zumba instructor for SARC, and I'll be able to do that over the winter, teach Zumba. So that's something I'm going to start doing. And actually, if I want to teach in the winter, I do need to start learning it now. So it's interesting that she's knocking on the door. Again, this is surrendering to what's happening in front of you and going, oh yeah, okay, that's that giving me a little knock. And it is what's necessary, because I need to look after my body. So that feels relevant. And then debauch. So where are you being debauched? Where are you leaking? And there's a few things that I've been thinking like I need to stop doing, so that I'm not just leaking all my energy everywhere. And there's quite a few things where my energy's leaking. So where is your energy leaking? And then there's the Fool. So it feels like that's relevant, that the Fool's the next card. So we can reach this beautiful circular original state, this flash magical moment where we stepped into being. It's there for the taking, but we need to keep letting ourselves shed and grow and learn. And yeah, Saturn is very much about, let's do this. So look at the sign language of what's coming through. Trust it, explore it. Like, your outer world is a sign language for your inner world. So if things are coming up and people from the past are coming up, let it teach you. And yeah, only do what's necessary. Don't spread yourself too thin. Focus like a horse with blinkers. Focus and do the work. Awesome, my loves. Thank you so much. I'll see you on.